then Jayden Daniels is just going to, be able to make plays, kind of maybe in times when other quarterbacks wouldn't be able to. The fact that he's still able to scramble, they have some of the design runs that are working, and he can just kind of make any throw from any point now, and he's getting so much more comfortable with that.
Joining us now, Dan Pizzuta from the 33rd team joins us for his weekly visit on Thursdays. Dan, what's up, dude? How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing well. What'd you? I'm curious, real quick, before we get into Commanders Falcons. What'd you think of the Netflix games yesterday? Obviously, the games themselves were pretty bad. Anything you took away from watching Christmas football on Netflix that you were like, oh, that's noteworthy?
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was presented pretty well in terms of being able to actually stream it, which was nice. I'm not someone who is watching a lot of celebrity boxing type things, but I know people who were trying to do that on Netflix. That did not work too well for them. So the fact it was a pretty seamless watching experience was good. I think they maybe tried a little too hard with some of the things they presented in terms of all the people they tried to force in. But anytime I think you can get Mina Kimes on TV, actually giving information is a win. So I think that worked too.
Yeah, no, I actually talked about that earlier. The halftime, our post Beyonce halftime hit, where Mina's dropping actual knowledge, and then Robert Griffin III was like, "I think D'Amico Ryans might have to put shoulder pads on." I'm like, "Oh God, why do we just more Mina, please?" But as for the games themselves, obviously not only so much to talk about. So I think we just go ahead and skip ahead to this weekend, where we have the Commanders and Falcons. And what did you make of Michael Penix's debut against the Giants? And how do you try to extrapolate anything against the Giants at this point in their season to what the Commanders are going to prepare for and see on Sunday?
Yeah, that's I think one of the big takeaways. You kind of have to grade this on a curve, but I think he did fairly well for what you were kind of expecting and hoping the offense would kind of look like. I think one of the big things is this offense has been very good at opening up the middle of the field, but Michael Penix, kind of like Jayden Daniels in college, was not a very big middle of the field thrower, especially his last few years in Washington. Of course, because of the wide receivers they had, it's very similar to, the Jayden Daniels profile. A lot of very easy, there was the slot fades, but there were a lot of go balls down the sideline. But when he threw to the middle of the field, he did that about, 37% of his attempts on Sunday. He was 11 for 11. And this Atlanta offense has been very good at opening those up. There hasn't always been a lot of zip in those passes to get, the yards after the catch. With Kirk Cousins in there, I think there was a little more with Penix. So you kind of open those up. I think they had the first play of the game was a designed bootleg off of play action. I think that was very deliberate to show that that's something they can call now. It ended up being a drop. They still ran a lot of pistols. So I think this is going to be kind of very similar things to what we see from this Washington offense now, except without, the quarterback design run game. But a lot of things structurally opening up the middle of the field, a lot of the play action at a pistol, where you're going to be seeing a lot of that from the Atlanta offense.
So I was talking about this with my podcast colleague, Logan Paulson, this morning, and they ran, as far as I can remember, I don't remember seeing a single snap from under center. They might have ran one or two, but it was mostly pistol. What do you like about pistol, and do you think teams should run it more? But also, what are the drawbacks out of a team operating out of the pistol a ton like Atlanta did last weekend?
Yeah, it's something I actually wrote about this before the season started, because I think it was a trend that we saw a little bit from some teams heading back into the back half of 2023 coming into this season. It is one of those things where you can do a little bit of both. You have the ability to run a lot of the under center run game that you have, but you're also enough that the quarterback is back far enough that you can do a lot of passing concepts from shotgun. So when you have those type of things that you can mix and match together, I don't really see a lot of downside to it, especially when you can run some of the play action. I think one of the downsides is if you have like a Kirk Cousins and he can't really move, so you can't really take the advantage of some of the bootlegs off of play action that you would kind of like to do. That kind of hampered some of what Atlanta was able to do. But when you have a quarterback who can move, can get outside on those bootlegs, you don't really know what the formation isn't really a tell, as it might be for some under center or some shotgun things for a lot of teams. So I think there are, we do see a lot of teams. Washington has leaned into it a lot. The Rams have gotten away from it the past 3 weeks, but their second half half turnaround last year was a lot about pistol. Miami uses a lot of it. It just kind of it gives the best of both worlds. And when you can do it well, you have good play action designs out of it. It kind of keeps everything looking exactly the same. That's what we see some of the best offenses do from, when you want to design and have all of the run and pass concepts be looking the same so the defense can't get a tell.
Yeah, Logan also mentioned that you can run some of like the jet motions and things that are a little harder from under center. You can sift tight ends. There's like things you can do that are more natural to shotgun, but that are beneficial to the run game or to play pass that he really likes from pistol as well. So I thought that was interesting. And Logan's thoughts of if people want them, more of that in Take Command. As far as the Commanders' defense goes, trying to defend Penix and of course Bijan Robinson in the run game. What'd you like about how they were able to, or what did you see in their ability to stop the bleeding last week after obviously Saquon just gashed them early, but tremendous performance for the final 2.5 quarters from the Washington defense against the run. What do you see that you like there that you think is translatable to trying to stop Bijan and Tyler Algier this week?
Yeah, I think it was one of those things where I think we kind of saw how important Jalen Hurts is to that run game overall, because once he went out, Washington completely shifted the way they were able to kind of defend a lot of what they were able to do in that run game. They were playing with a stacked box more often, so they were able to get a little more into that second level. They weren't quite as worried about, of course, you have, Kenny Pickett, so you're not really worried about him hitting the second level things over the middle. So I'm going to be interested to see how much that translates because, like I said, with this Atlanta offense, you do have to worry about some of those, the play action and opening up things, especially from the slot over the middle. So the linebackers do have to be, maybe a half second slower because that is available to them. But the fact that they were able to still create some penetration with that offensive line, there wasn't as much hesitation because there was no rushing threat from the quarterback, which obviously there really isn't going to be with Penix either. So I think that aggressive mindset, and I think they were just aggressive in general. I think they played a lot more man coverage than you would have thought too. So I think that might be something that they end up sticking with also because, individually one-on-one, you're not totally worried about these wide receivers for Atlanta. It's a good offense, but I don't think there's one guy. I mean, Drake London is great and I like him a lot, but he's not a guy you're going to be worried about playing man coverage against a lot. So I think when you just have that kind of aggressive mentality, I think that helped them, especially in that second half against Philadelphia.
All right, last thing with Dan Pizzuta here, writer for the 33rd Team on the Hoffman Show. What's your confidence level in this offense, the Commanders' offense, at this point in the season? They've obviously gotten it done a number of different ways. Sometimes it's really efficient and proficient. Other times it's these big explosive plays. But they just put 36, despite 5 turnovers, on what was supposed to be the best defense and ranking-wise was the best defense in the league. So as we head into these final 2 games and then ultimately the playoffs, what's your confidence level in Jayden Daniels, Cliff Kingsbury, and this offense for the final stretch run here?
Yeah, it's pretty high. I think they're doing a lot of fun things. I think as we talked about every week, do we see enough from them moving things around and making some changes in some of the offense and presenting it in different ways? I think every week, again, we just continue to see some more and more things like that happening. When you can hit some of the downfield throws that they had against Philly, against a defense that is their main thing that they're trying to stop is those deep explosive plays. So when you're able to hit that against a defense like Philly, I think they're still working the middle of the field well when they have the people there to be able to do it. So the fact that they're moving around, then Jayden Daniels is just going to, be able to make plays kind of maybe in times when other quarterbacks wouldn't be able to. The fact that he's still able to scramble, they have some of the design runs that are working, and he can just kind of make any throw from any point now, and he's getting so much more comfortable with that. I think what Washington is doing right now, and especially in the passing game, we knew the run offense was going to be good when everyone's healthy, but the fact that they still have a lot of these change-ups has been great to see, and it definitely boosts my confidence level for them going forward.
All right, for more from Dan, you can check out his work at the 33rd Team. Dan, I guess we'll be the first to wish you a happy new year, to borrow from Chris Berman's very old playbook, next week as we talk to you next Thursday. Thanks, man.
Yeah, thank you. Happy New Year to you as well.